today's soul session is going to be all around doing 75 hard for the third time, and I'm doing it my way. So I'm going to tell you exactly why I've had such a change of heart, and my personal health journey that I'm going through right now, I should say, which is the reason why I've decided to make my own version of it. So a little bit of background for those of you who don't know, I started the 75 Hard Challenge by Andy Frisella last year in, I think, September. Yeah, I finished around the beginning of December. So it was 75 days of this challenge. Really quickly, if you don't know what it is 75 days of a gallon of water, which is 4 liters. You have to follow a diet. You get to choose what diet plan, but you have to follow it for 75 days straight. No cheat meals, no alcohol. You have to exercise twice a day, so 2 45-minute sessions. They have to be separate. They can't be smooshed as one. And what's the other thing? You have to take a progress photo every day. Oh, and you have to read 10 pages of a non-fiction book. Yeah, sorry, I had to think about that for a sec. Okay, so that was the challenge, and like, honestly, the 75-day challenge that Matt and I did together last year, it was amazing. It just totally reset me. It put me in this mindset and state, and I was just high energy the whole time. I loved it. I didn't struggle too much except for the water intake, which was my absolute devil. But I'm so grateful that I did the challenge, because prior to the challenge, I was literally drinking 1 to 2 cups a day. It was so bad because I'd forget to drink. I wasn't mindful of my water intake. I would just work and then not even drink any water. So drinking 4 liters a day from nothing was a huge health change for me. So many health benefits came on from that. My skin, just like my natural body oils, it was beautiful and amazing. Something that I had been struggling. I didn't realize how dehydrated I was until I did the challenge. So you may have read my blog on the 75 Hard, and I love the challenge. I think it's great. I think everybody needs to do it at least once in their life. It just teaches you consistency, it teaches you grit, determination, consistency. I think I said that already. But it also I just finished that challenge so proud of myself for sticking to something and not going back on my word. And I think that was something that I did regularly. I'd make myself a promise and then I would just flake on it. I'd put other people's priorities first, or promises that I'd make to other people as a priority, and then the promises that I made to myself, whether it was health related, business related, life, relationships, whatever, I was just like bumming out on myself. So the lesson I learned from 75 Hard was that I am capable of creating whatever it is that I want to create in my life. I can stick to my word. I am consistent. I can do whatever it takes. And yeah, I was just so proud. So 75 Hard, done and dusted. Then at the beginning of this year in January, Matt and I decided to do phase 1 of the program, which super confusing because it's the second part, but it's called phase 1, and it's a 30-day version of the challenge with a few added extras. So on top of everything that I just said before that you do, I also had to do 3 power tasks. So you had to do 3 things every day and not do them. If you didn't do any of the tasks in the 75 days, you had to start from day 1. I forgot to mention that. So yeah, phase 1 is everything, and then the 3 power tasks. The power tasks, you get to choose what they are. It's just whatever area of life you're wanting to focus on, you set that in that area. So I chose business because I really wanted to grow my business in a different way in January, just give it a kickstart for 2021. You have to do 10 minutes of visualization, which isn't a problem for me. I meditate 40 to 80 minutes every day anyway. And then there was something else you had to do. Hey, Maddie, what was the phase 1? What was the other thing you had to do? You had to do the power tasks, you had to do the visualization, and what was the other thing you add on top? Do you remember? Anyway, it was something really hard. The diet? I don't know. Anyway, you can Google it. It's not important. The fact is that all the different tasks that are set in the challenge, they're not individually hard, but doing it all in one 24-hour time frame is what's difficult. So I finished phase 1, but it broke me. And I actually haven't even done a post about phase 1 yet because I don't know what to say other than it was horrible. It fully broke me, and I'll explain what happened. So the diet that I chose was intermittent fasting. I did that for the first 75 days, and then I decided to do intermittent fasting again for phase 1. And I've been intermittent fasting for 6 months before our wedding I started, so that was 3.5 years ago. So I've been fasting for that long. And I also did no dairy, no meat. So phase 1 happened and I was going really good. I got to day 18 and I just totally wasn't thinking. I was at the farmers markets with Matt getting our groceries for the week, and I ate a plum before my fast was meant to finish. Pardon?
It's out of bed by 5:30.
Oh, no, that was... No, Matt's talking to me in the background. Anyway, so I ate a plum and I broke my fast, and it was really interesting what happened because I was in the car and I was like, oh my gosh, I broke my fast by accident. Oh no, I failed the challenge. And I was on day 18 and I had to start from day 1 again. So what was meant to be a 30-day challenge ended up being a 48-day challenge because I did 18 days of it and then I did another 30 days of it. And so Matt finished on day 30. He didn't fail. And so I did the challenge by myself for 18 extra days, and it was horrible. It was so bad. Or 12 extra days. It was really bad. But it was very interesting because at the time I was reading a book, which I actually spoke about in last week's soul session. If you want to go back where I talk about honoring your feminine energy, I was reading In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti. And if you haven't read this and you're female, you have to. This needs to be in the school curriculum. This is the most incredible book I've ever read. And I've changed my entire life and the way that I live and the way that I breathe around this methodology now. So, short story of the long is that intermittent fasting and hard challenges like that are made by men, and for example, intermittent fasting, which is something I've done for 3.5 years, you guys. I've been doing this for so long, and I've done programs within the HSC about it. I've done YouTube videos on intermittent fasting. That methodology of eating has only ever been researched on men. There's no clinical evidence on how intermittent fasting works for the female body. So that was my first thing. So I ate the plum and I broke my fast subconsciously. I didn't think about it, but it was almost like my body was trying to scream out at me and say, Shan, you've got to stop living like this. You have to eat. And I was hungry, but I just didn't even think about it. Anyway, so I started sort of channeling my inner intuition, going, what's going on with this? This is a lesson. So I stopped intermittent fasting the day I ate that plum because I was reading about the research behind it and how it doesn't work for the female body from this book. And I was just like, whoa, this is a total sign from the universe. And then so I got rid of intermittent fasting, and I cannot tell you how great I feel not fasting for the first time in 3.5 years. So that was the first part of my unraveling of my health journey. The reason I'm reading this book, In the Flow, is because I really wanted to learn more about my cycle, my hormones, and I suffer with really bad cramps when I get my period. And I know, I've done the research, I've read the books, I understand that having bad cramps, getting, PMS symptoms like acne or feeling emotional or all those heightened things that we feel around that time of the month, it's actually not normal. It's common, but it's not normal. And I've known this for years, but I've used holistic measures to try and reduce my symptoms. I use essential oils, I use a heat week bag. I've done certain things that have helped, but I'm always reaching for that Nurofen because that first and second day is just torture. I have to clear my schedule. That's how much pain I'm in. So I'm on a journey right now, my own health journey, to figure out how to balance my hormones. And if you read the book, you'll understand that having PMS symptoms like that is because you have an imbalance of hormones. It's called estrogen dominance. And so I've known this for a really long time, but have I done anything about it? Not really, because sometimes it's just easier to not clear the calendar and be on back-to-back calls and take a Nurofen and just like deal with it, right? So I've learned that this is not the way to treat my body. And if you checked out my last soul session, you would have also learned about my business journey that I'm going on right now, which is honoring my feminine more. So I'm on this whole new journey right now, and I'm not saying I'm an expert in this. I'm still figuring it out, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I don't know like where this is going to lead me, but I'm loving the way I'm living life right now. I'm honoring my feminine more. I'm getting more intuitive and connected with myself. And I'm also paying attention to my body and what it's trying to say to me. So phase 1 broke me. Like, you know when you see like marathon runners and they're like running and they're about to finish the race and they're crossing the finish line and they're like, yes, like, oh my God, I'm winning, I'm finishing it. Like, that was not me. At the end of phase 1, I was like that person crawling, dying across the finish line. So I hated it. And I was like, I can't even post about phase 1 to my audience because I'm so broken. And so when Matt decided to do phase 2, which is, again, super confusing, it's the 3rd program of 75 Hard, called phase 2. When he said like, Shad, I'm going to do that if you want to do it with me, because he's training for a sprint triathlon at the moment that's happening soon. And I was like, babe, I just can't do it. I love the methodology and the way of living and the way of eating and the way of exercising and the way of time management that this book teaches me. Like, I've finished it. I've read this book more than once now. I've got it all doggy-eared and highlighted because it just spoke to my soul. And I just said to Matt, I can't do 75 Hard anymore. Like, there's a reason why phase 1 broke me, and it was kind of like my sign to be like, stop living in your masculine. And if you look at Andy Frisella, who made 75 Hard, like, he's a freaking unit. He's huge mofo. And I'm like this tiny little female, right? So if you're doing 75 Hard right now, please don't take this as, oh, I've got to quit. Please finish it and please do it, because I think everybody needs to do the 75 Hard to teach themselves persistence and consistency and never giving up on themselves and sticking to their own promise. And it just taught me so much about mindset, and I don't regret doing it. But my personal health journey of where I'm going right now is telling every bone in my body, every cell in my being is saying, don't do it right now. So what I am doing is I'm supporting Matt with his phase 2. And just so you know, phase 2 is another 30-day challenge. And it is all the same things as 75 Hard. There's no added extras. There's no power tasks, no visualization, even though I do that anyway. I'll be adding that. I'll be doing that. That's just part of my morning routine. But there's no added extra crazies. It's just the normal ones. So looking at the 75 Hard and then following this, which this teaches you about how women have a 28-day clock. So men have a 24-hour clock. And actually we also have that, our circadian rhythm. All women and men have that, but women have this extra added beautiful clock. It's called the infradian rhythm. And it's our 28-day cycle. It's our 28-day clock. And the way that I'm living my life right now, the way that I'm conducting business, the way that I am showing up, the way that I'm eating and exercising is in accordance to my 28-day clock. I'm not following the 24-hour clock right now. And 75 Hard is all about the 24-hour clock. It's about getting up, doing a workout, working, like having high level meetings or doing high, big tasks, and then in the afternoon doing things that don't require so much brain power, and then exercising again, and then whatever, going to sleep and doing it all over again. That's a 24-hour way of living. It's And my health journey that I'm going through right now is I want to break my 24-hour clock, if that makes sense. I want to live in a cyclical way, and that is in accordance to what my hormones are doing and where I'm at in my cycle. So I don't want to ruin the book for you because I really want you to read it, but it's just all about honoring what part of your cycle you're in. There's 4 phases. The first 2 phases are where you're more active, more energetic, you're able to do like exercises like HIIT training and running and things like that. And then the second half of your cycle is where you start to slow down and your hormones are changing, so you can't be high level, you can't hold big meetings and speak on stages and do back-to-back meetings, and you can't do HIIT trainings and running. Like, it's more about soft yin yoga classes or soft reformer Pilates or walks on the beach, or it's just about changing how you show up in whatever phase of your cycle you're in. And because I'm trying so hard to finally have a cycle where I don't have any cramps, I am totally honoring it. So how am I going to do phase 2 when I'm living in my 28-day clock, when the challenge itself is such a 24-hour way of living? So I've decided that I can't claim I'm doing phase 2. I'm not going to say that I've done it or finished it, but I am going to do the next 30 days with Matt, but my way. So first of all, I'm not going to do like crazy hard exercise 2 days a week. Deb, it's called In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti. If you go on the podcast app and you just search her name, just first I recommend listening to any podcast where she talks about In the Flow. She has another book called Woman Code, but this one is her most recent one and goes into way more detail, and it's amazing. So yeah, you would love it. So yeah, what I've decided to do is the diet, quote unquote diet, I don't believe in diets anyway, but the food methodology that I'm following is from the book. And let me get it up. She actually suggests certain foods to eat in each of the 4 phases of your cycle. I can't find it right now, but there's different foods you want to eat to balance your hormones. So whether you are suffering with things like PCOS or endometriosis or PMS symptoms like myself, where you get cramps and really bad pain or heavy bleeding. If you are also postnatal and you're wanting to get your body back in check, like, this is such a beautiful way to live life and eat. Here we go. So she has this graph here of the 4 cycles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all the different types of foods that you eat in each phases, so that you are balancing your estrogen and your progesterone and your testosterone, which are your 3 main sex hormones that are going up and down throughout your 28 days. So the diet I'm following is not really a diet. I'm just going to follow these foods with the challenge. The other thing is, she also talks about how to time manage according to what phase you're in as well. So again, like in the first 2 phases, like I said, you're highly energetic, your hormones are allowing you to be social and give and serve. So the first 2 weeks is where you would schedule things in your calendar that require you to network or to meet people or talk to people or lead your team or do whatever it is that you need to do. And then the last 2 phases of your cycle really revolve around you going internal and serving yourself and honoring your body and listening to yourself and being present with yourself, being intuitive, listening to your body, all those things. So the last 2 weeks of your cycle are not when you would go out and be social, for example. It's more time where you'd be internal and a little bit introverted. So I'm honoring that. And then also she talks about how to exercise. And just an FYI, if you download the app, the Nike training app, so go to the App Store, Nike training app, it's a free app. There's actually an amazing section in there that is called Training with Your Cycle. And it shows you what types of exercises to do from home, like in your living room or, in your backyard, according to what phase you're in. So like The first 2 weeks of your cycle, again, energetic. You can do high level exercise. You can get that heart rate up really high, whereas the second half of your cycle is more like yoga and Pilates and walking, and you know what, maybe even not exercising at all if you don't feel like it. So I said to Matt that I will do the 2 exercises a day. One's just a beach walk, which is, this is my therapy. It's not really working out. I love doing my morning walk on the beach. And then my second workout is going to be whatever is in alignment with that phase that I'm in. Again, just following the book, what it's recommending. But she talks about how the first day of your bleed, first, second, and third day are really like incredible, powerful days that as a woman we get gifted, where all of a sudden we are more intuitive, we problem solve better, we can access like this different level of consciousness because of what's happening in our brain and with our hormones. And if you don't feel like exercising, don't push yourself. Like, you are literally shedding, you're releasing. So I said to Matt, when that time comes around in the month, I might not exercise, and I hope you're cool with that, because I'm just honoring what my body is going to tell me to do on that day. Now, I'm hoping, following the diet and the time management and the exercise that she recommends in this book, I hope I have my first period without period pain this month, but it might take a couple of months. I don't know. If I don't have any pain and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing, I'm going to go for my beach walk, but I may not do 2 that day. And I'm okay with that, because like I said, I'm not claiming I'm doing phase 2. I'm just listening to my body. If I feel like I don't want to walk at all and do nothing for the first couple of days, then I'm not going to do any exercise. So that's what I'm doing. That is my version of the 75 hard, if you can even call it the 75 hard. You probably can't. Probably have people listening to this saying like, that's not even the 75 hard, but I don't care. I'm on the most amazing health journey right now. I'm loving living cyclically. I'm loving living in seasons. I'm loving the necessary rest that is so required in our 28-day cycle, and I just really want to honor that, and I just really want to empower you, if you're a woman, to read more into this, learn about it, listen to podcasts, read the book. It's so beautiful. I just feel like this is something that all women should really learn about, and rather than being like scared of our periods, or being like, oh, I have my period, or like, oh, I can't do that because I have my period, I just really want to empower women to see it as a time of month that we get that men don't, that's really super powerful for us. It's where we get to access a different level of consciousness. It's where we get to empower ourselves and our body and just really go within and become more intuitive and powerful. And this is something that I've never ever openly spoken about, because I have been that person who is always thinking that my period is just like in the way. You know what I mean? I've always been like, it sucks. Like, this is stupid. This is annoying. Like, oh my God. So yeah, I'm really that's my health journey right now. I'm really excited to come in live in 30 days from now and let you know how it goes. But I hope this has empowered you to, if you are doing the 75 hard and you're a female, I hope it's empowered you to just go, it's okay, like, to not do such a masculine challenge if you don't want to. If you want to, oh my gosh, it is the most amazing thing. I think that it's so beautiful to have a healthy balance of masculine and feminine energy. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I don't regret ever doing it. I think it's wonderful. It's taught me so much. But yeah, I'm just on the coolest journey right now, and I'm loving it. I'm feeling really good about it. So I hope, that explains what I'm up to. I will talk to you guys in 30 days from now and let you know how I went. All right. Have an awesome day, guys. Talk to you soon.